Thank you everyone for being here. We're the FIVB team. We're here today to discuss second screen experience, and our project is mainly on digital marketing and digital fan engagement. So I'm Mota, team leader, Duda, Eric, and Mike here, who's going to be presenting later on. So let's get to it. In terms of our project objectives, we had a specific mandate from FIVB on what we need to deliver. And it was, first of all, a mapping of the entire FIVB digital footprint. So we provided certain reports for social media, YouTube channels, and etc., web performance, and everything that is on second screen engagement. And we provided those reports to FIVB. Then the second thing was to benchmark digital initiatives. So we went out and we evaluated other federations and other brands that are out there to doing other digital initiatives. And we provided certain reports and evaluation on how it should be done. And lastly, it was a primary data collection at the Montreux Volleyball Masters, which was a collection of data knowing about what's their mobile experience, how they interact with their mobile phones, and how they engage also with the sports on a digital basis. And lastly, why we're here, it's to provide some recommendations and strategy. But it is important to understand that thanks to our client, actually, we were directly communicating with a new system that is called Collaborate. And we actually didn't have to go a lot to FIVB to discuss because we were sharing and discussing right away online. So before we get to our recommendation, I'm going to just put everyone into the environment of what digital is. So our mandate was to define what second screen fan engagement is. And second screen fan engagement is defined by you're watching a game, you're watching any football match or any volleyball match, and you pick up any computer device and you watch, and you look at it to get more information. This is called the second screen experience. Now, what federations are now doing is, or other sports are now doing, is they try to target those audiences through their mobile experience. But the problem that we faced throughout the report and throughout the project was we had creating a digital strategy is actually very complex because it's an evolving and changing environment all the time. So we're here to define best practices and not necessarily a complete full strategy with a timeline. And it is also important with FIVB's new initiatives that are providing, actually if you are watching, we have the Poland Men's Volleyball Championship that is happening now, so you should check it out because it's been a great championship so far. But it's important to understand big data and what big data means in terms of tracking user behavior, but also tracking athlete behavior. And this will be discussed throughout our recommendations, and I'll pass it on now to Mike to give you a little bit of our findings.
Excellent. Okay, so as Mota mentioned, one of our objectives was to do a map of FIVB's digital footprint. And we work closely with FIVB's communications and marketing department, most of whom are here today. But we just wanted to get a closer picture of where they stand as far as their digital situation. And so we looked at their website, we looked at their mobile experience, we looked at their social media channels, and also the volleyball tracking system, the VTS, which is a new technology that FIVB is trying to incorporate. And so, just to give you a brief summary of our findings, looking at their website, we noticed that their championship sites and their tournament sites had a different user experience as compared to their main FIVB.org page. And we also noticed that there currently is no email collection strategy, and that's a way to get the fans engaged through newsletters or marketing campaigns. And we saw that in the past couple of years, the mobile users increased by about 26%, and that FIVB has about 60 million fans on Facebook, and their social media outlets tended to act more as broadcasters of news. And we saw that any content that was published that included video increased user engagement by about 60%. And as far as the volleyball tracking system, it's a technology that's created by Playful Vision. And as a former coach, this is a technology that I would love to use. It tracks player movement on the court, it tracks ball speed and trajectory. And currently, this technology is only available to big federations, but eventually it'll be made available to the larger public. But through our research and surveys, what we found is that there's a distinct difference between coaches engagement, and fan engagement. And right now, this technology that they're incorporating is geared more towards the coaches. And like Mota said, big data. It provides a lot of big data. We need to be able to figure out how we can use this data and be able to get the fans engaged through that data, through this technology. And another one of our objectives was to compile or collect primary research data through surveys at the Multiple Volley Masters. And we just wanted to get a picture of the volleyball fan, what they use, how they use their mobile applications or their mobile devices. And what we found out is when they use their phones or tablets, they use email. 86% of the volleyball fans use email. And like I mentioned earlier, there is no email collection strategy. So this is a way to connect to the fans is go through email. And that's one of the biggest things we found through our survey. I mean, besides Facebook and looking for news, email was the top activity that they use on their mobile devices. And we also surveyed to see what they would like, what their wish list is. As a volleyball fan sitting in the stands watching the game, I want to be able to go on my device and see, if something happens on a nice play happens during the game, I want to be able to go on my application and see an instant replay of it. So, we saw that 60% of people watching the game, whether it's on TV or on a live match, they don't go on their phones. But 40% that do, they want to check scores, they want to check, player statistics. But for the 60% of people that don't, these are the things that they want to see. Maybe, if you're at a live event, you want to know what the coaches are talking about in their huddle, so maybe live commentary on the app, through the app would be a great idea. And of course, player statistics, instant replay. So these are some of the things that we found out through our survey. And we also got the chance to survey coaches at the tournament and just to see, are they involved with mobile applications? And what we found out overwhelmingly is that yes, they do. A lot of them use a lot of applications to take statistics or for game strategy or for video editing. They're very involved, but they use a multiple number of applications, not just one application. And so based on our research and survey, we're able to provide some recommendations. And the methodology we used is a digital engagement framework. And this is a way to just be able to get FIVB's stakeholders, all of them involved with this process. And it just asks questions like, what are FIVB's, digital inventory? What is their reach? Can we build something that enough people will use? Who is their target audience, and how do we reach them? How do we communicate with them? And of course, taking FIVB's objectives and visions, and how do we promote and communicate that to the volleyball fan? So one of our recommendations is for FIVB to create a mobile application. And it can't just be any application, it has to have certain features. There has to be a cross integration between all their platforms, whether it's through their website or their Facebook or Instagram. Whatever message they're trying to send out, they should be consistent and consistent across all platforms. And features like being able to buy tickets right from the application. Fans should be able to look for an event and be able to just buy tickets right then and there. Incentivizing ad engagement, meaning if they click on something on Facebook or click something on their website, maybe they should be rewarded. Sponsorship, giveaways, freebies. Give them something for being on your website. And get them engaged. Maybe features like discussion boards or commenting where they can comment or where we can poll them. Maybe ask them who the best server is. Things like that, just to put them in the middle of the action. And maybe give them a chance to speak to sports experts or players or even coaches. It makes them feel more involved with the sport. And of course, at the end, the volleyball story should be told. An application, any information you have on the website can be transferred to the application, because as a user, as a fan, my first instinct when I'm looking for something or some information, my first instinct is to go on the phone and go in an application. I don't want to go in there and type a web address and go to the website. I want to go to mobile application. So that's the first reflex for any fans. And as far as the design goes, the whole idea for the application is to keep the user on the application for as long as possible. So seamless touch movements, swiping through from page to page is a way to get them staying involved, make it easy for them to go through the application. Sections like articles and news feeds gets them reading, articles with emotion about emotional stories about the players or the teams. That's a way to get the fans involved and stay engaged and stay within the application for as long as possible. And as far as reaching out to the coaches as well, what we're suggesting or recommending is the creation of a mobile application for coaches. And it's going to be one single application that includes all the features and the functions that coaches are looking for. As a former coach, we don't have a big staff. We don't have enough time. We'd rather spend our time developing our team, developing our players. So with an application that has all the functions you need, it makes our jobs more easier and more efficient. And so an application that can include as many of these features and functions that coaches use the most would be ideal. So with that said, I'll transfer it again to Mota to conclude.
Thank you. All right, so we spoke a lot about how the mobile application is going to look, what features need to be, but then when you develop something, you need to let the people know about it. So we developed this sort of promotional strategy that is specifically digital because we're trying to keep the budgets low. And the first thing that we need to do is website partnerships. So get involved with the volleyball family and the volleyball community. So contact them and ask them to write an article or put a call to action on their website. This is a new way, and they call it blog outreach. The second thing, we noticed that a lot of our fans are using email. Newsletters are very important to activate and to get click-throughs on the website and to get downloads, basically. So it is important to understand that emails right now are very, very underrated in the entire digital sphere because they think it's outdated and everything that is being said out there is about social media. And lastly, we'll be discussing a little bit about Facebook targeted ads. So actually on Facebook, you can target users to the iOS level, so to the operating system level, and mention those ads on their newsfeed. And it actually has around 30% click-through rate, which is one of the highest online. And not to mention also the App Store optimization, because on iTunes or on Google Play, the App Store works exactly like a website. You need to put keywords in there to optimize research. Now, in terms of how you're going to promote it and the digital breakdown, when you start promoting it, it's 6 months before any event. We've noticed actually it's the mobile application that we're talking about right now, it's already developed, and it incorporates different championships. And so to promote this application, you need to start 6 months before promoting it on different websites, on TV, and on with other partners. So starting 6 months before with the newsletters and the Facebook acquisition. Then during the event, develop an ecosystem. So using the LED boards and the TV graphics and the giant screen to promote download the application. And after, you always need customer service. You need to always come after the event. The event is not done. You need to create the story. You need to tell people what happened and what are the volleyball stories that are out there. Now, we said how we're going to spend money. How are you going to make your money back in terms of the revenue streams for the mobile application? There's 3 ways. The first one is gated content. So basically, they call it the Sports Illustrated method. So you pay for a subscription on a monthly basis, and you get access to premium content and videos. The second one is sponsorship. So you sell ad blocks on the mobile application or on your digital sphere. And lastly, which is the pay-per-download. This is specifically for coaches. If we notice that there's a lot of people looking for the volleyball rules online, volleyball tutorials. So it's you pay per the download, or you pay for certain things or a subscription to get access to this e-learning platforms. Now, everything we've said is very important for digital strategy. But what we need to look into is everything that is done is in micro moments. So whenever you pick up your phone and you're watching a game, you are already swiping down on Facebook or on Twitter, and you need to catch the attention. And this happens in microseconds. So the story that you need to tell on the second screen experience need to be very, very quick and attractive. So it needs to add value. So what are the type of stats that you need to show? Certain things that comparing a volleyball player height to the net or to even a building. The talking numbers, these are the things that the examples that we're talking about. If a volleyball player jumps, they actually jump really high. I tried, I'm a basketball player, so I don't, we have Lisa here, so it's, she will be able to tell you how hard it is to be a volleyball player. And lastly, tell great stories in micro moments. So whatever we do, it needs to be in microseconds. So the main takeaways that we need that we're trying to say here is that real-time content is king. You need to be in the moment. You need to be constantly updating on the event. You need to be able to engage with users all the time. Then the second thing is email. Actually, there's a Harvard Business Review on it, and it says that email is one of the biggest revenue streams for any federation or any sports brand. And not to forget the context. It's when you are, let's say you are in an event and you see that you are waiting in line, the first instinct that you have is picking up your phone and you start swiping down up and looking for an application or even playing a game. These are the moments that are key for FIVB to promote their sport and promote what they're doing and have a fan engagement. And lastly, to tell the story that is relevant and repeatable. So whatever is working needs to be repeated. So to sum it up, in an era of great live sports that were happening right now, we have the basketball championship, we have the volleyball championship, and they're amazing events. You need a cohesive digital ecosystem that integrates all these elements to succeed. Thank you.